boys and girls. Okay, we've got another animal story, another informational text, and this one is called Day and Night in the Desert. I'm not gonna lie, I'm a little nervous because there's some animals in the desert I know I am not a fan of, but I'm excited to learn some new information specifically about animals and what goes on at the daytime and the nighttime in the desert. So today we have a couple of jobs. One is going to be again to summarize. We learned this with our poem, Fabulous Fishes, and that's after we're done reading, we're going to ask ourselves, what is this story all about? What are all of those details telling me the story is about? And of course, while we're reading, we're going to be asking questions today. We're going to make that more of a focus again because we're probably going to want to know some more about the different animals or different things that happen day and night in the desert. We might find answers to those questions. And it's just good as a reader to kind of have that job and want to learn new information, especially since today's story is an informational text. So while I'm reading, those are the things I'm going to be thinking about. And I hope we do learn something new. Day and night in the desert. In late spring, the desert is very hot and dry, but it is full of life. During the cool night, a beautiful Saguro cactus flower blossoms. Here's something called a caption, and it says wildflowers grow in the desert sun. So this is a caption which is additional information to help me learn something new. In the morning, painted lady butterflies sip nectar from wildflowers growing in the sun. So I can see there's an illustration here that goes along with the photograph that says the Saguro cactus blossoms last only one day in the hot desert sun. So these are only flower blossoms for one day and then they disappear. Very interesting. I wonder why. That's a question I have. I wonder why they only last one day. Nearby, a hungry lizard watches. It soon snaps up a butterfly and scurries away. I'm guessing the lizard's going to be eating that butterfly. Then it rests on a rock warmed by the sun. Lizards have to eat too. I was right. They do have to eat, and sometimes animals do eat other animals. Now I see again some photographs here and some captions. Horned lizards hide by lying on wood or rocks that look like their skin. We know that that is called camouflage. Collared lizards run on their two back legs to escape danger. So I question about that. I wonder if they like lift up and run on their back legs. That would be funny to see. This western whiptail lizard has long claws to dig for food and catch insects. Wow. I have asked a lot of questions already, but that's because there's so much information. Right away, I noticed this part of the story is about lizards. So I wonder if we'll learn about some other new animals that are in the desert too. A young snake slithers by very quietly. It strikes quickly and gobbles up the lizard. The snake won't be hungry for the rest of the day. So king snakes like to eat lizards. And this is a photograph of that king snake. Regal ring-necked snakes show their bright undersides to keep enemies away. So if you see, it's kind of black on the top, and then this color here is the bright color that scares the enemies away. Rattlesnakes have sharp teeth. So if I were to stop here, I would notice that these two pages are simply all about snakes. So kind of in the whole story, we're learning about the desert, but then on some pages we learn all about lizards in the desert. And now we're learning all about snakes in the desert. And I'm happy to turn this page because you know Mrs. Hall does not like snakes. Most desert animals stay hidden in the shade during the hot afternoon. But at sunset, the desert begins to cool. Roadrunners cannot fly very well, so they run fast instead. Roadrunners stay cool during hot afternoons by standing in the shade. A barrel cactus is named for its barrel shape. A roadrunner darts out from behind a barrel cactus. Roadrunners are very quick. The snake is a nice treat. I'm noticing something. It'll be exciting to go back and talk about this in a little bit. I'm noticing that each time the animal they're talking about, it's getting a little bit bigger. I'm also noticing that there was a butterfly who was eaten by the lizard, who was eaten by the snake, who is now being eaten by the roadrunner. Interesting. I wonder what they call that. In the evening, a coyote waits in the darkness. It has begun its night of hunting to bring food to its family. Coyotes are clever hunters and can pounce quickly on their prey. A coyote feeds her pup from her mouth. It doesn't bother to chase the roadrunner. A roadrunner is very hard to catch. I'm going to guess why the roadrunner is hard to catch because on the last part or the last page it said about how the roadrunner is super fast. So it's probably hard for the coyotes to catch them. The coyote looks for a kangaroo rat instead. I thought it was going to eat the roadrunner, but it was too fast, so now it's looking for something different to eat. Kangaroo rats move like kangaroos. They jump using their strong back legs. Saguaro cacti even take more than 100 years to grow to their full size. Under the desert moon, another saguaro flower blossoms. In the morning, a butterfly will sip nectar from wildflowers, and the search for food in the desert will begin again. Okay, so we've reached the end of the story. I've stopped to summarize some of the pages, and I've asked a lot of questions, and you might even have more questions about this story. But now that I'm at the end of the story, I'm really going to want to know, what is this book all about? And I can go back and look at the pictures, but I really think this last part of the story is what's most important. It says, in the morning, a butterfly will sip nectar from wildflowers, and the search for food in the desert will begin again. And it was like, click, this whole story has been talking to us about how the flower grew and the butterfly was eating nectar from the flower. And then the lizard needed food and he ate the butterfly. And then the snake needed food and he ate the lizard. And then the roadrunner needed food and it ate the snake. And then we met an animal, the coyote, who also needed food. And it chose to prey on the kangaroo rat. So, what I would say I think the story is mostly about is talking to us how a food chain works in the desert or how animals get food in their habitat. And in this case, the habitat was the desert. Hopefully, that makes sense to you, boys and girls, and hopefully, you can talk a little bit more about animals in the desert or animals in other habitats.